Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised. Everybody, today we have a newbie to the pod, and it is Cody from Paranormally Cryptid podcast. I bet you can guess what topic we're covering today. A cryptid. I usually, open up and want to give you an opportunity where you can just kind of let everybody know it's pretty obvious what your thing's about, but, give them some background or anything like that. Anything you would like the people to know, where to find you and that kind of thing. A lot of people say it for the end, but I put it at the beginning because then everybody's got to listen to it unless they fast forward, which would be a dick move. So don't do that and just listen to the guy. All right, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Cody. I am the host of Paranormally Cryptid podcast. I am on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Google Podcast. I talk a lot about cryptids. I do have people come on and talk about paranormal stuff as well. Other than that, I'm just into 3D printing and trying to write books.
Oh, and he showed me one of his, for everybody, just so you know, I only release technically the audio files. Well, the video files are available, but they're only available on the Patreon feed under a certain tier. So for those of you who wouldn't be seeing the video, he has this cute little Wendigo thing, and it's adorable. And he said he printed it, and it's like awesome. Like I would freaking love one of those little guys. It's pretty badass. So check out the video and look at it, and yeah, get with him because those things are awesome. I can't do that. I don't even know if I would know what to do with it if I could do it.
I was going to say I have to hand paint them too because I don't know how to get my other printer to do double work.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I could do that thing because I shake really bad. My medicine makes me shake.
I don't have a steady hand.
Me neither. I picked this topic and I do have to laugh. My son is 12 and he's actually had some encounters with some weird stuff. Not cryptid related, but more described something to me because he was a little bit concerned that he saw it and he didn't know what it was. So then he starts describing it to me. And he said that he saw it. Now, granted, he was awake. He was out in the woods with my stepdad and they were hunting and they were just walking to their blind or whatever. And he describes this thing that he sees and it's a fucking hat man. Kid doesn't take Benadryl, which is usually associated with it. He wasn't asleep or anything. And he said that he's seen it more than once in the same woods. Today, he's like, oh, so what are you talking about? I was like, the Batsquatch. And he was like, and his eyes just lit up. And he was like, a Batsquatch. I was like, yeah. He goes, for real? And I was like, yeah. He's like, can you tell me about that when you come back in when you're done? I was like, oh, you bet your ass I will. I was like, we can have Cryptid Corner all day. So he's just as excited as I am. And I just think it's funny because I'm surprised I don't see him on the other side of the window, like listening to learn. But he's in there playing video games. So, well, I guess we can just go ahead and just jump onto this son of a gun. How about that?
That works for me.
In the skies surrounding Mount St. Helens in the 1980s, there was a chance that you could witness an airborne mega-sized monstrosity. It is speculated that the appearance of the beast was initiated by the eruption of Mount St. Helens. So none of this stuff happened until this big eruption, apparently. The creature in question was said to be similar to the, and I'm going to try to do this. I apologize if I butcher it. I'm not really good at pronouncing things. The Ahul or the Orang Bati from Southeast Asia. This specific winged anomaly seen by witnesses is referred to as the Batsquatch, which is a really funny name, I think, because I have a hard time putting two and two together, but we'll get into it. Some say that the creatures listed previously are kind of like cousins to the obviously very well-known Sasquatch. And it has been described as having a towering height of at least 9 feet, which is about 2.5 meters, a little over 2.5 meters tall. So get this. They say that they weigh about the same as two full-grown grizzly bears. That's a system I've not yet. Is that like a Canadian measurement instead of like metric and
Probably
imperial or whatever?
Egyptian.
Um, and but I did just to make sure that we could all get a good idea. A full-sized male grizzly weighs between 400 and 600 pounds, which is 181 to 272 kilograms. So that would make Batsquatch about 800 to 1200 pounds, or 363 to 544 kilograms, allowing for some rounding. Although I'm not entirely sure how you could gauge that visually. I mean, I don't know if they just assume that the thing is. There's no way that it could look like two grizzly bears if it's only 9 feet tall, right? How tall is a grizzly bear? Is it like
Uh, give
maybe
or
they're like
take.
playing piggyback, on all fours, maybe?
Well, a standing grizzly bear to begin with it is about 9 feet tall.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were really big.
Oh, they're huge. They're
I mean, not that
the
I'd ever be anywhere near a bear,
I've seen a live grizzly before. They're huge.
unless it's in the zoo. Not,
Oh
I
no,
mean,
I
hmm.
my grandparents used to take us on camping trips around the United States, and
Mm.
one of the trips was to Yellowstone that has a couple, and which they were one of them was on its hind legs scratching its back on the tree like out a distance, and like just seeing that and then like trying to measure it out and all that, you could tell that at a certain point it was like 9 feet tall, but like guessing an animal's weight goes by like height and how it looks. So then it's like looking at something and then measuring, going, all right, well, the tree here from this point to this point's like 9 feet. It's about this way. So yeah, they were probably just estimating a educational weight to it.
Maybe. I mean, the closest thing I have is because like I don't like to go outside, so I don't have to worry about it much. But my uncle went, I don't know, to like Canada, or he went somewhere, shit, I don't know, far away. And he went on a hunting trip. And the first time he went, he came back with this like big bear, like black bear skin rug, which was gorgeous. Um, but then the next time he went, he shot this black bear and had it stuffed like in like a actual mount with like the some of the environment type stuff on it. I mean, it's beautiful. I know some people are like, oh my god, we ate the bear. Okay, we actually used it. He didn't just skin it and leave the rest. So we used pretty much everything we could use out of this bear, and he killed it with a bow from less than 50 yards. So like this thing, it's standing up. I think it was like 7 or 8 feet tall. And I'm like, I would have shit my pants if a 7 or 8 foot fucking black bear stood up in front of me and all I had was a little fucking bow and arrow.
Oh, I've seen videos
Oh,
where they've used guns and hit them with that. All it does is make them mad and they charge at you.
he got it right where he needed to, took the sucker down. I was like, thank God, because you would have been mauled.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, I mean, there's a fun fact that, we have a big stuffed black bear. It's pretty cool. I scared the hell out of some kids with it once. I was babysitting. I was like, you guys want to go see a bear? And so I didn't tell them it was dead. And they were little, so they thought it was real. And so then I like they were all looking at it, getting real close, and I went up behind them and I like grabbed their shoulders and was like, rah, and like scared the shit out of them. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. But anyway, back to the description. They also say that it has like a striking yellow eyes, a muzzle similar to a dog or a wolf, bat-like ears, razor sharp teeth, bird-like feet, which I'm assuming that comparison ends around the ankle area, and not because when you think about a bird's feet, I personally always correlate it with like the part that's like that weird, gross texture all the way up till it hits the feathery leg. That's what I would consider the whole foot. But I'm thinking that's probably not the case here. Maybe it's just got these little claw feet, which is like really gross, but I hate birds. Um, but they also say it has a broad torso sporting some washboard abs. So this motherfucker is like ripped. like the creed of cryptozoology. On top of all of that, it's got these huge leathery looking wings that can span up to 50 feet. Again, I'm not good with size. All right. So I would probably measure something the same way a man measures his dick. All right. It might be 4 inches. It might be 12. You never know till you see it.
All I
And
know is you cut it off about 4 inches and then you measure.
well, I'm always like, they're like, oh, 4 inches. I'm like, a male 4 inches or a female's 4 inches. I'm assuming 50 feet's really big, right?
Yeah, about
Um,
half size of a football field.
oh
Or
shit.
no,
I didn't even put that in
that's
there. That's
yards. My
yards.
bad.
How many feet are in a yard? It's like what, 3.3 feet in a yard, or that's a meter. 3.3 feet in a meter.
It's like
I think it's 3 feet in a yard, isn't it? A yard stick, I think, is 3 feet. Shit. I did not
I'm
I did
looking it
not think
up.
I did not think this one through. Sorry guys. I converted everything else. But I'm just picturing, I mean, so you have this 9 foot, apparently super ripped,
Three
heavy.
feet.
Oh, I was right. Look at that. Boom, bitches. The things you don't know, you know. But if it's that big, is 50-foot wingspan really enough to technically support it? It'd have to be huge, right?
So it'd be
Or it'd have to
about
be,
16.7 yards for
oh, that's
50
not very
feet.
far at all.
No. So
That's not even a down, right? Isn't that 20? I'm trying to think of it whenever my kid plays football. I'm trying to figure out the distance. Like the little flag markers, with the little like
yeah.
circles at the top.
So
That's
I would
20, right?
yeah, so it'd be about that.
Well, that's not very big at all. For something that big?
Yeah,
Ugh.
for something that
Okay.
big and that heavy.
We'll probably discuss that later. But then they also say it's got a bluish dark fur, which I thought was kind of strange. And I had a Great Dane. Well, actually, I had two Great Danes back in the day, and we decided to have a litter of puppies. Really, it wasn't my idea; it was my ex-husband's idea. And we were assuming, we just have 4 to 6 puppies. It's our first litter. Blah 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 blah. They're big dogs, and no, this bitch has 19 fucking puppies at once. But anyway, out of those puppies, we had 3 that were technically considered blue puppies. But to me, they were like a silvery gray color. So that's what I'm picturing in my mind whenever I hear the blue, but it's bluish dark fur. So I would assume something maybe kind of like what they were colored, just a little darker tone, maybe.
I don't know. A lot of the videos and pictures that I've seen of a bat squatch have been like a blackish type color. But then again,
Has it been well lit?
most of them were at like one of the videos I saw was basically it at like a far distance at like a top of a tree, like trying to take off.
Oh,
But it just to me, like everything was lit up like grayish coloring,
mm-hmm.
and then it was like a black figure that just took off.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
it's
almost wonder
like,
too, because I mean, if it does have that really big wingspan, if it's like up in the tree and you're looking, obviously you're looking up at it and it's down towards you, it might be casting a shadow, making it appear darker than it really is, as opposed to being like in direct light, maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
The other videos and pictures were like sunset or sunrise almost. So to
Uh,
begin with, whatever you see is going to be a lot darker than normal as well. But yeah, no, when you said the bluish, I was thinking of that like
like a
grayish
teal
color.
kind of like a
Yeah.
light. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So we're on the same page. They also say that this thing has a quote unquote pinky finger that extends all the way out and becomes part of the wings, kind of like a bat. Um, and son of a bitch is like primed to be enjoying, a nice bowl of tea or something in the afternoons. And that made me just think of, this big winged 2 grizzly bear pound ripped creed motherfucker sitting at this teeny tiny like white table with porcelain, the porcelain tables with the flowers, wearing a bitchin' but like a southern grandma's Sunday best styled hat, like sipping tea with other cryptids with like the pinky out. That's all I can think of. Like extend the pinky. Possible t-shirt idea. Note to self, you need to make something like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do it, but I'll find a way to do it because I think it'd be hilarious to have a bunch of cryptids at a tea party with the little extended pinky. That is what I have for the physical description. And then people have also noted that when they hear it, it's a combination of a bat screeching and the typical Sasquatch kind of roar, the grunty thing, which I was having a very hard time imagining.
Oh, it's howl or the
No, the combination of a bat screeching
uh
with a Sasquatch together, because it's a very high and a very low. But what I was wondering is maybe it is sounding wise, technically, it would be more of a like a low Sasquatch type sound, but maybe because it is supposed to be correlated with a bat, maybe that higher pitch is actually a sonic wave type thing that you're picking up on, as opposed to just a random noise. Like maybe there's a purpose,
oh.
which we'll get into in the next line. Another thing, like I said, they a lot of people assume, or I guess have just decided, that it possesses this telekinetic type ability that allows for the disruption of items such as radios, TVs, and car engines. And again, I don't know, could this be telekinetic? Or could it possibly be that those sounds that were emitted previously mentioned were actually the waves that are interacting with these devices and causing them to malfunction? Because I'm not really sure how I feel about telekinetic. That seems kind of weird, but the fact that it does that screechy and the bats have that sonic location. I know that's not the actual term for it, but echolocation kind of.
Yeah,
Is that what it,
echolocation.
yeah. So I wonder if this is something similar and it just has a bigger effect because I mean, if a bat can do that and find, a bug or whatever in the air, having this big giant monster with probably a good set of lungs on him sending out the same type of sound, it would just probably be at a much, either greater frequency and it might be enough to cause issues. That was just the only thing that I could come up with that made sense to me. And I don't need to go over the next part because we already talked about it. Supposedly, the creature did not appear to discriminate against where it made its presence known because sightings were kind of just popping up all over the place. It's not like it was in just one place, like a cemetery, or that was a horrible example, I guess. I don't know, an abandoned building or a certain part of a forest. Like it was just all over the place. So, which kind of strikes to me, I mean, is not Sasquatch is primarily, wooded areas, right? I mean, it's not like you see a lot of them are, it's not like you see them in town or in a city or like where it's populated typically, right? Aren't they usually kind of
Eh,
out?
I mean, technically, a lot of sightings for Sasquatches are out in the countryside. There has been some sightings here in Ohio, up by where my other half's family lives, that where it was just crossing the street. But like if you look into the area, there is some woods going into the city, and then on the
Okay.
other side of the city is more like woods. So it kind of just crossed through the city to get to the other side of woods to
Okay.
continue on.
But it's not like one of those things. It's probably like that was like a
Yeah, it's not
migration
going to
trail,
walk like out in
like
the
a
middle of
migration thing
Cleveland.
where they go back and forth and back and forth. And if somebody just erects a city or a building or whatever, they're like, fuck it. This is the same way we've always gone. So we're just going to migrate the same direction. It's just like, well, to hell with you and your city because we were here first. But what it kind of gets to me, what I visualize it with its not having any regard for exactly where the hell it goes, it just kind of shows up everywhere. Struck me as Mothman-y. I mean, think about it. You have this really big figure that's supposedly ripped. It's got these wings that so far nobody has commented on them actually using it, but we haven't gotten the counters yet. But I don't remember if they actually use them or not. But it's like, a big dark figure. And I mean, it was at I think Mothman was it was at obviously the bridge. It was at the TNT. It was like at this, so it kind of went a bunch of different places, but in like a small area. I'm not sure where I stand on Mothman. I haven't covered it yet. It's gonna be a really long one when I do. But I was just thinking they kind of seem similar.
I'll state this right now. my podcast was born off of Mothman, and I've done between a lot of research with Mothman and Sasquatch. Mothman basically has been spotted all over the United States, let alone around the world, because in the UK they named him the Owl Man because it
Hmm.
looks more like an
The
owl than
Owlman
a
of
moth.
Cornwall.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Shout out to Cryptid Podcast. I love those
so,
guys. They actually did a huge deep dive on the Mothman, and somebody had taken their like 6 or 7 part series and condensed it into one like super long super cut edition. And I've listened to it like 3 times, and it's like 8.5 hours long.
oh,
So I've listened to the Mothman, the origin, the people involved. Even they even went into like the Men in Black encounters, the alien or UFO. Like they went into all of that together. And I'm a nerd and I kind of listen to it a lot. But go ahead, sorry.
but yeah, no, I was definitely thinking at first that Batsquatch could possibly be Mothman, but the only thing that throws me off about it
The eyes.
is the eyes.
Ah,
And
I read your mind.
most Mothman Mothman encounters, they talk about antennas being on top of the head, where most Batsquatch uh, descriptions per se, I've heard ears.
But given lighting, distance, perception, the fact that Mothman supposedly instilled like horrifying fear into these fucking people, that very well could have been ear like, and they were just like, I don't know, it's antennas. But
Mm-hmm.
what gets me is there's not a specific description of whether or not Batsquatch's head is attached to a damn neck. Now, if it's like that low, no neck, kind of like in the body thing, I'd have been like, oh shit, I think this thing is like totally misrepresented. But Mothman's also, well, no, because he's not really listed as feathery, right?
Uh, some,
I think there's like a
some,
couple encounters said feathery wings or something.
yeah, some say feathery wings, some say leather, some say that it looks like with Mothman he's feather more based,
But they say it's
but
ripped, just like this guy.
yeah,
Maybe they work out
uh,
together.
they probably do.
They're wing buddies. Oh my gosh, I gotta come up with a really cool name. I can't come up with anything that goes with winged. Winged warriors. And they have it on like their cut off gym shirts that like come up above their belly button like a crop top. And they show up in the gym, you know?
I would have just said step wing.
The they're they're those assholes that everybody hates being in the gym because they just grunt the whole time. They're why we have Planet Fitness. I'm horrible.
Oh, you're good.
But
But
anyway. Oh, do you have another?
no,
I
I
didn't know if
was
you had something else.
no, I was just gonna let you continue on.
Oh, with my winged warriors. Well, I was trying to come up with another W word that would have something to do with like, being big and working out. They could like host their own thing. Workout with the winged, featuring Mothman and Batsquatch. All right, everybody, let's go. Oh my gosh, with the freaking the spandex. Like the 80s style spandex. And they're just going, how would you get it over
Um,
the wings though? Anyway, sorry. I mean, I'm totally
well, I was
we're
gonna say if they it would be open in the back because all it is little bands right here.
well, yeah, but you got to get your arms and you'd have to put the wings through. Oh no, because the wings are coming. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Okay. On that note, it even got to the point back to Batsquatch here where he was kind of showing up everywhere that it became well known, like just among people, that something was wandering around and people were just kind of like warning everybody, keep your eyes open, stay vigilant. And to me, it was just kind of interesting that everybody was just like, oh, hey, watch out for, Bat Squatch. It's like, well, did they have like what do they call those? Neighborhood watch? But I wonder about that. Like, because they're just like, oh, stay vigilant. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you have like a posse? I mean, what do you do? Over time, these reports became stories. The stories became legends, and soon the Bat Squatch drifted into a staple of campfire tales as more a monster of lore as opposed to a very real threat that it once posed. That is, however, until April of 1994.
The year I was born.
Oh, I was going to say I was 4. Well, actually, I was 3. I hadn't had a birthday yet. I'm
I
older than you.
was
Man, I'm an old lady.
I was 2 months old.
Oh, man. You didn't even know what the hell was going on.
Nope.
I didn't either. I was probably still shitting my pants. Who knows? Um, but on this date, an 18-year-old resident by the name of Brian Canfield was cruising through Washington's Pierce County. And suddenly his no doubt beloved truck just died. Like just straight up took a shit on him. And I'm going to now read directly from the Portland Ghost site about the encounter because I thought they did a very good job coming up with a visual and I did not want to change it and maybe lose some of the, I guess, genuineness of whatever they put. So, quote, Canfield smacked the thing a bit, got out. So I'm thinking this guy's like, just beating on a steering wheel, just pissed, and popped the hood. He looked inside when suddenly, blam! It was all in all caps. Sorry, I had to do it. Something landed on top of his car, which is interesting because they said car because originally they said truck, but whatever. The vehicle suspension squirmed and buckled. Canfield, the hood blocking his view, swallowed, took a deep breath, and did like a lemur. He took a quick peek above the metal rim. Scratching his chassis. Chassis? If it has an S at the end, is that plural or singular? Is it plural? Chassis?
Earl? Yeah.
Remember that guy I was telling you about? He would just kick my ass right now. Snarling and looking like it wanted a fight. The Batsquatch stood. Canfield ran. The creature leaped. This sounds like a little kid's book, right? Feet don't fail me now, is what he said. When Canfield got back to town, the back of his shirt was torn, his truck was all scratched up, and his nerves were wrecked. People chalked it up to the man having one of, quote, them nights. This is clearly in the South, right?
Oh, it definitely sounds like
Oh,
it.
wait, where's Mount St. Helens? Google, don't fail me now. Southwestern Washington. Okay, I would not have imagined that. After some time, the beast stretched out his wings and shot off with so much power that it shook the young man's truck. Just as quickly as the truck had died, it started back up and he was able to make it home, shooketh, but safe. He later took some family members back to the scene of the crime, but they were unable to attain any physical evidence of the encounter. Go figure.
Well, I
That was
was
his
going to say,
encounter.
if it's a flying creature, I don't think you're really going to catch much.
This thing, though, he said it jumped onto the hood of his truck and like scratched the hell out of him.
Mm.
Was going like bananagrams, beefing it up, trying to be like, you want some of this? I don't know why he wanted to pick a fight with him, but whatever. And then it stood. So I'm thinking if something weighs 2 grizzly, oh well, unless it's asphalt. That came out really weird sounding, didn't it? Damn it. uh, Pavement. I guess it wouldn't leave any marks, right?
No, if it was solid
But so,
ground.
so I guess we could assume that he was on a regular paved road, and that's why they didn't find any evidence.
Well, I mean, even if it's dirt, like if it's like packed in dirt, you're not going to get like footprints or anything. So I'm, and with what you read off, it definitely sounded like it was dry weather. So even if it was a dirt road, the dirt was probably going to be hard. You weren't going to leave any
Well,
prints.
I was just kind of thinking, like with him, with what it to me it kind of sounds like is, the bat squatch kind of jumped off. It was like kind of trying to pick a fight with him or whatever, and then eventually it got down and it stood up. I didn't know if maybe there would be some evidence of like a scuffle. I mean, if something's that big, running around, I mean, it. Well, I don't know. I don't have any idea what the
Well, they said that he had scratches on his back. So I was
and the truck.
assuming, yeah, I was just assuming that,
Oh, he's got bird feet.
yeah, that he was just flying and using his feet to attack.
Yeah, because whatever, apparently my chassis, I need to work on my education. It's okay, that's not my job. It's unfortunate, but there was no evidence. A local reporter working in the Tacoma News Tribune was so convinced of the young man's sincerity that he posted an 800-word article about the event in the paper in April 24th, 1994 edition. I did not go look to see if I could find that. I'm sure it's probably out there, but I did not go digging for it. But that's the end of that account. But then in 2009, there was a potential second sighting around Mount Shasta, geez Louise, in good old California. While several hikers were out, they claimed to have seen a massive animal with a 50-foot or about 15-meter wide leathery wingspan. It is said to have flown from the crevice in a mountain. One of the witnesses initially stated that it had the head of a pterodactyl. However, later they said it was more like that of a flying fox bat. Now, I don't know what those two look like, but I have a hard time believing they look the same.
Well,
Because doesn't like the pterodactyl have like that weird, like bony crest thing in the back?
yes, and a fox bat has more of a.
Are they the piggy nose ones?
Mm, I know the fox bat has more of like a snout per se, but it's like a flat end.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. And in the description, it said something similar to like a dog or a wolf snout, and
Yeah,
that is exactly what this looks like.
and
The tear. I don't
if
know what
you're
else. But
in reality, I know the Thunderbird has been stated to look like a pterodactyl to begin with. So it's like, and you said Washington, or this is in like Washington?
okay, so the first sighting was in southwestern Washington.
Washington.
This sighting was in by Mount Shasta in California. However,
Well,
I just looked up pterodactyl and foxbat. Those of the bitches don't look anything even remotely close.
no. And which I know the Thunderbird, it has been spotted over on that side of the country
Yeah, it's
a
like a
lot. So
western,
it's,
southwestern type.
yeah.
Okay.
So reality, that sighting could be misidentified as a Thunderbird, let alone the Batsquatch. But then again, they could have just been on that special grass because it is California.
Just wait. Let me read you my next sentence. You're going to get a kick out of this. Ready? So, this event could have been the notorious Batsquatch or possibly a Thunderbird. So, I was right there with you on that one. Now, again, they were just so different. And to say, oh, it's a pterodactyl head, and then, oh, it's a fox bat. I'm like, what the with you? Devil's lettuce, right?
Yeah.
Smoking the good stuff. But that's all that they have for the sighting. That's it. But then a man was walking his dog in his yard in June of 2011 when he was surprised to witness a monster in the skies above him. He immediately ran to grab the pup and save him from being whisked away by the carnivorous appearing creature. The following is the description the man later provided when asked. Quote, I saw something flying sky, which I thought was interesting. It had bat wings, blue fur, and had a face similar to eyes glowing red. It was about 9 feet tall. At the least, after I watched it, it just flew away.
So back in 2000, what was that? 2011?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm on Cryptid Wikipedia.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm able to keep up with you because
Oh,
I
it's
found
close.
the
I
sections.
think it's actually I used it in my it's going to be in the sources. All my sources go in the notes. So,
Okay. I use it a lot whenever I'm trying to, so I picked up real quick where you were at on reading. But what's funny is there's also possible Mothman sightings in Phoenix back in 2011, but at the same time, I want to say in two no, yeah, 2011, I believe Chicago was
Mhm.
having Mothman sightings as well.
Yes, there's a lot in Chicago. That's
So,
like a whole Chicago Mothman thing now.
oh, there is. But like, I know 2011 was a big year that they were having a lot of Mothman sightings throughout the United States. So
Well, this
when,
one's kind of interesting because I mean, now the description does sound a lot like the bat squatch, other than the eyes, because it doesn't sound. I mean, it's got, like I said, it's, well, and that's the thing. They're very similar. So let's see here. We've got bat wings that's been associated with both, but then it has blue fur, which is primarily just the bat squatch, and then the eyes, it says similar to eyes glowing red. I don't know if that means like, because with Mothman, I felt like when people said it had glowing red eyes, it was like those sons of bitches were like bright red, right? And so again, I don't know how far this thing was. He just said it was kind of flying around. I don't know if it could have been something where the light hits it just right and they may be yellow, but maybe they show up as like a different, like it's reflecting off something, and maybe change it the color more to like an orangey reddish kind of color. I don't know. But then again, it's also, 9 foot tall, and that's the same for both. So they're pretty close. I think it could go either way. The only thing that stands out with this one for me is the blue fur.
and that's where a lot of actually trying to get the, how do I want to put it without people making it sound like I'm an idiot? It's basically where you got to gather all that evidence up
Mm-hmm.
and put it together with other sightings.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
because like this one
they're
was
saying
for
blue
sure
fur.
blue fur, and I don't think out of all of the Mothman encounters that I've
Oh
heard
no,
of,
everything has been
it's
black with red.
black as night. Yeah, so I want to lean more towards Batsquatch, but I do think there is a little wiggle room. Again, don't know how far this thing was. I don't know what was flying around it, but I have a little like 7 pound little dog. And I'm just like, man, if I had that little dog out there and this like huge thing's like circling, I'd be like, oh, come on, Gus, let's go. And I'd be trying to get this little fluffy ass in the house.
Well,
So
even like on the size that they've said this creature is, it could easily swoop down and grab a human and just take off.
yeah, like what the hell would it go for the dog? But I mean, hell, I literally have to watch for birds of prey because they can take off with my dog. We have another one. A second period Spanish teacher at the Archbishop Hoban High School got the fright of his life on April 14th of 2014.
You
That's a
forgot
lot
to
of
say it
fours.
was in Akron, Ohio. That is like 45 minutes away from me.
It's in Akron, Ohio. Okay. I didn't think that was relevant. I should have put it in there. Sorry.
It's
Again,
Ohio. We have to announce
hey,
Ohio
again,
whenever
I
it's
have not
Ohio.
looked at these notes in probably 3 months at least. So I apologize. And when I was editing them, like touching them up beforehand, I didn't make it this far before I ran out of time. So shitty on my half. I apologize. If you want more deets, check out the links in the description. But he saw an enormous black mass zoom by the window at an impressive speed, according to him. He claims that the beast in question was about, again, 9 foot tall, which is about 2.5 meters, and 20 to 30 feet or 6 to 9 meters on the wingspan. And then I laugh because it's literally like all I have for his sighting. So basically, this teacher is by a window. This son of a bitch goes flying past the window, and that's what we got. It's 9 foot tall. It's black. To me, this does not scream bat squatch.
To me, that sounds like either because it's Akron, Ohio, and I know Akron because I live in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
It's known for a couple. Oh, it's known for a lot of things, but it's known for a definitely D word that I don't know if you say on your podcast or not, but
Like a D word. I'm like dick.
drugs. Well, I'm just saying the teacher could possibly have been high. He could actually be an alcoholic. So,
He was a high school teacher. He was a Spanish teacher in Akron, Ohio.
and something black
Okay.
through past the window. I've seen rats
A
that are
vulture.
huge.
A vulture could have flown by the window. Well, how tall is this high school?
I don't have a
Mine's
clue.
tiny. Like mine's
Well,
small.
if it's Akron, just say
Isn't it like a
it's
fairly
probably
small town?
no.
Oh,
Akron is about almost the size of Canton, in which Canton's decent.
that doesn't help me either.
It's one of our big cities.
I'm
Well,
like, how does that
Cleveland's
compare
our
to
huge
Indianapolis?
city. Oh, I don't have a clue.
See?
Uh,
But
oh shit.
that's all I have on this little guy. Um, but multiple cryptozoologists and parapsychologists that have noticed a link between our Batsquatch friend and the infamous Mothman, which we've been talking about this entire time because I'm a
My
loser
medicine normally comes in a glass bottle.
and I'm batshit crazy, so I can't mix stuff or bad things happen. I have some points that they made in correlation. So they both agreed that both of the creatures appeared during and after some sort of cataclysmic event, which I thought was interesting because you have the Mount, St. Helens eruption. I don't know if anything happened at Mount Shasta or whatever. Uh I don't remember hearing that something major happened, although it was kind of interesting that's another Mount something. So maybe.
Well,
But the other guy with the truck, I mean, what the hell happened around that? Or the
the truck
potentially high
battery,
teacher that
or
maybe saw a vulture.
I can already say the Akron incident was most likely just another animal, and the teacher wasn't paying attention because it's Akron. It's a decent sized city here in Ohio, and at any moment you could see something fly past a window really quick, and then you look. But
Yeah. It
if you're
did
not
say
like
that it was going
paying,
super fast.
yeah, if you're not like eyes locked on watching this thing fly off in the distance, you can't sit there and say, "Oh yeah, it looked 9 feet tall with a 20 to 30 feet wingspan." In reality,
Yeah.
it could just been a crow that just flew past his window.
Because my only thing would be now, like in my high school, like the windows on the second floor they were pretty long. They were very long windows. So like if this thing did zoom by, but it was like as it zoomed by, it took up the entirety of the window space, then I could gauge how long it was, but I don't know about wingspan. But oh well, we'll just take this guy who's probably high. Who knows?
Oh, it's Akron. Everybody's high there.
And then, oh, my Akron people, if there's any Akron people, we love you still. um,
Canton's better.
yo, I'm not gonna start a turf war or whatever,
Oh, I don't
gang
live in
war on my
Canton, so I'm
podcast,
good.
the Kryptonaut Gang War podcast. Um, but they also do say that both of them seem to possess some kind of power to affect particular man-made objects like the cars, the TVs. There's the thing with Mothman about the telephone calls, the weird phone calls. So it does kind of have somewhat. Now, granted, back when Mothman was doing that, it was more. Here's my nerd coming out. Well, not really a nerd. It's just me and my background. There probably was not cellular devices. It wasn't wavelengths that you were trying to get. It was probably some sort of something that would have had to have gone through the copper line to go into the telephone. It would be a little. It's a totally different now. With me, with the Bat Squatch, with like I said, that screeching that kind of seems like it's like a sonic power. I could see that doing like some kind of wave to affect things. I do not see that necessarily being able to transfer like through a phone similar to Mothman and vice versa. If Mothman's doing something to this telephone line where the copper's running through, he's somehow getting to the insulation, he's running it through the copper line, it's going up into the phone. That same ability is not going to be the same ability that can then shoot waves off into something. Now, if it was killing phone lines or killing satellite TV or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. It's both kind of that maybe a wavelength of something that's causing those problems. But I mean, although they do you both affect vehicles, we don't know exactly what's affected. I mean, it could be two totally different pieces of equipment inside the vehicles that are affected in different ways. So I just feel like it's not the same, even though they both have some kind of ability. It's kind of, I guess, like a psychic and a medium that they're classified as under the same umbrella, but they're definitely not the same thing.
Right. There's also probably another theory, just to
Hit
throw
me.
it out there.
What you got?
wrong timing. Like with the guy's car, it could have been an older car already having problems, since the reason why he was hitting the steering wheel.
Well, but the other description, I mean, yeah, it could have been a total junker. Um, but the other description, like when they were going through it, they were saying, oh, it seems like it has telekinesis powers because it was affecting a bunch of other things like TVs and radios and things that run primarily off wavelengths
Yeah.
back in the day. Granted, this one was more up to date, so there probably could have been different things. So who? But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Although in all of these sightings,
I'm sorry. The screen completely
I
froze, but I
feel
can hear
like
you.
if they had factored in the position of the head to the body, that would be a huge help in determining what it is. I also do not remember Mothman having chicken feet
Mm,
or bird like feet. You know what I mean? Isn't he supposed to have? Well, I guess I don't really factor in his legs very often.
I was gonna say most of the time they just talk about the upper body of Mothman, but I
Yeah,
know, like,
maybe he's not packing.
I'm
But I mean,
yeah, because if you look at the statue, he's got like
I
a
hear he's got
three
a nice
tone,
ass.
but
Okay.
from the quick lookups of what a full body Mothman looks like, it looks like he either's got like the owl feet,
Well, so
or
much for that.
that have like a three pronged toes,
Mm-hmm.
like how the
Like a
statues
bird.
have. Yeah.
Okay, so that wouldn't be. But the other thing they do, they pair them together, even though I think, it is slightly different. Obviously, I mean, it is pretty obvious. They have those piercing, like blazing eyes, where granted, one's red, one's yellow. And then they both are associated with these very large wings. Now, granted, Mothman is sometimes feathery, sometimes bat, and Batsquatch is always bat. I I could see that being maybe enough to put it in the same pool as far as a comparison between the two. However, they also pointed out that bat squatch to be more aggressive than more of the, fly on the wall Mothman. Um, because Mothman's usually we see him or he's flying, but he's not actively trying to get you. And this thing's like, I mean, it was up on the car, it was scratching, trying to get him and trying to pick a fight with him. And but then again, and the other one seemed like it was circling, almost like it was going to come down and either get the guy or the dog, or dog and the guy. So it seems like it's more of like I guess aggression would be the good word, but I was thinking more of like a hunter instinct as opposed to Mothman being more of like a watchman or warning type.
Well, with Mothman, it has more of a mellow, yeah, mellow style, in which there has been some encounters that I've looked into where they stated that Mothman has came at somebody, but not like hurt them.
Well, yeah, there was one that I remember listening to again on the Kryptonite podcast episode where these people were in this like building or whatever, and there was a beam, and it was walking towards them on the beam, which in theory probably could not have really supported this thing very well because it was heavy and the beam was like falling apart. It was like an old abandoned building.
Mhm.
Uh, but it wasn't, coming at him aggressively. It wasn't doing anything. It just kind of like flew off. But it was just kind of like slowly walking. And I kind of feel like Mothman might get a bad rap that's not his fault. Where, like I said, it scares the hell out of people. They get that conjunctivitis bullshit from like looking at him. But it's nothing that he's actively doing. He's not doing anything to cause that reaction. It's kind of like, I didn't choose the scary life chose me. Kind of like I tell everybody, I didn't choose the boob life chose me. So it's some things you don't have control over. It just kind of happens.
Well, that's like the Ohio bridge accident with in between Ohio and West Virginia there.
Mm-hmm.
They found out that it was due to a loose bolt, in which Mothman was just trying to warn people, hey, this is going to break, and in which, since we really don't understand like what was going on at the time. People just saw him, bridge fell down, all the monster did it.
Yeah, they talked about it too because they were talking about somebody had reported seeing beings of some sort on the bridge, like right before, like the day before something it collapsed,
Mm-hmm.
just dicking around where they shouldn't have been. If there was a correlation between every Mothman witness prior to the bridge falling and people that died during the bridge fall. Like, did he warn people that were on the bridge? Did he only warn people that knew someone on the bridge? Or was he just trying to tell everybody? I think that would be very interesting to know.
Sorry, uh, as soon as you said we don't talk about your
Oh, shit. It did it
friend,
again, didn't it?
no,
Oh, okay.
one of mine's over there playing with the curtains right now, and my heat's not even turned on. No, mine get active, but problem is they normally like playing with the pan that sits or that's sitting right behind me, and they normally like doing it whenever I'm recording or recording with somebody. And
I,
shockingly, they've been quiet today.
when generally when I have people on, $20 says we got something talking to us in the background whenever I go back to edit this later.
Oh,
It'll be a while when I edit it, but when I get to it, it's number 10 in the queue right now.
I can tell you right now that it's uh it's on. Hold on, I gotta see which side of the screen I'm on. All right, over there behind you in the black corner. Yeah, that corner.
Mhm.
A couple times throughout the episode, I've noticed there's been something peeking in and out
Which is interesting because do you know what's on the other side of that?
the wall.
This thing I have back here is just a folded up mesh thing with my stuff. Which, by the way, shameless plug, everybody. I now have a P.O. box. It is P.O. Box 152, Spencer, Indiana, and it's 47460. And if I get any goodies on there from my listeners, I made extra space so I could put them up while I record, so I could put them on display. I have like display places in case anybody was to send me anything. But anyway, so there's that.
No, I was gonna say if you send me that, I can see if I can 3D print a night crawler for you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. So I got that felt thing from a vendor at Cryptid Con. I have a curtain, and then behind it is literally the wall to outside. So it's brick halfway up, like solid brick, and then the whole top piece are just huge panes of windows. But then I covered them with like blackout thermo shit, and then I put soundproofing pads all around the studio, and then have the curtain on it. Well, so the window in front of me, nobody could see it where my lights are. Um, I left it open. I didn't put soundproofing on it because I didn't want the boys, if they needed something, to come out the front door. Because when you open the front door, I have alarms on everything and cameras. This window in front of me literally just goes to my kitchen. So all you have to do is stick your hand in between the blinds and just kind of like wave so I know that like you need something, or they can like hold up a sign and like talk to me through the window but not interrupt me while I'm recording. But yeah, so there shouldn't be anything back there. It sounded like I heard someone walking like right here. It sounded like somebody was like pacing in my studio. And so I stopped and I was like, "Hello? Hello?" And sorry, they can hear me. I just I did that on accident. Sorry, guys. But nothing was there. Like I even got up and moved the curtain and everything, and there was nobody in here. But I mean, I was like, oh well, maybe I just heard somebody walking. Then I'm like, wait, because I can see through the blinds if something's moving in front of the blinds, but it would have to be at least at like hip level. So if it's a person, I could see them. Apparently, my visitors are following me out here. That's all I had. I was gonna. I have. Well, we already talked about your theory, so I guess we don't really need to probably cover that because we've kind of been talking about that throughout the whole episode. The only other question is, I wanted your opinion. What do you think, bat squatch or bullshit?
On a lot of the stuff that I have investigated on my own due to trying to get an episode somewhat put together, to do my own episode of Batsquatch.
Sorry, that was me.
Oh, you're fine. Uh, I definitely do think it's possible, but at the same time, I feel like it might be misidentified. And I'm only saying that because, yes, I'm a huge fan of Mothman. I definitely think there is a Mothman, but I feel like Mothman and Bat Squatch possibly could be the same with some type of stuff done to where the reflection in the eyes could be different per se.
Okay, I've got a loaded question, but because I'm going to do Mothman eventually, I just need a very simple answer, okay? Because it's the reason I'm asking. As far as Mothman is concerned, do you think it is a actual animal creature thing, like from here? Do you think it's demonic? Do you think it's summoned of some kind? Do you think it's from another dimension or something, or possibly, extraterrestrial? Just pick one of those options. We don't have to go into detail.
I
Depending on your answer is going to go with my next question. I don't want to
I
give
feel
too
like
much
it
away.
might be extraterrestrial
Okay.
or the dimension one.
Okay. The reason I was asking is if for whatever reason, I mean, I don't honestly, I don't personally think that it's more uh, terrestrial or a real creature or anything, just my personal opinion. But if it was, then I can see Bat Squatch and Mothman being basically kind of like a dog and a coyote, or something like that, where they're similar or like different kinds of snakes, right? But they're both snake, but they're different kinds. One's yellow, one's red, and maybe that would be it for some whatever. But if it was created, oh, sorry, I just had a light bulb, and I know this is going to be like totally fucking out there because there's also the theory that Mothman was created by like a government thing, right? If that is the case, what if the reason one is red and one is yellow is because of its abilities, and maybe one does the phone hardline car breakdown thing and the other one does the sonic whatever, and whatever difference in the two giving them those different abilities also affected the color of its eyes because they both glow, just one is red and one is yellow.
I mean, that does make a lot of sense,
I like to keep my
especially
options open.
since, oh, I was going to say, especially since the government doesn't like talking about a lot of stuff and they use a lot of stuff that alters animals' DNA to begin with to either grow stuff on their back or mutate
The
them to,
spider goat. You
yeah.
know about spider goat, right? Okay, listeners, if you do not know about the spider goat, I shit you not, it is real. Like it's a real fucking thing. They literally took goats. They took spider DNA. They put it into said goat baby. The baby was born. They milk the goat and then extract threading material from the goat. I watched it.
And you can't kill it with a shoe.
Nope. But what they do, because here's the thing, just so you guys know, in case you wanted more information, they actually used a particular type of spider's web in the making of Kevlar because it's like the strongest natural made material in the world. So, but because this particular spider is a loner, it's not a community spider. Like if you put any of them together, they just fucking eat each other. They couldn't farm enough spiders to provide enough material for as many Kevlar things that they needed. So they then infused the goat to extract more out of the milk that they then use because it's just as strong as the fucking spider web because it's spider web in the goat milk. Is there anything that you might think about Bat Squatch that we haven't covered?
I know one of the videos I watched shows that they, well, the video I watched basically just showed a large creature with wings swooping, grabbing something out of the sky landing on top of a tree and then basically crushing it and then eating it. So,
Well, that's cool. Well, I was
but
trying to get a picture of what this thing is, because, like I said, although the description did have a lot of obviously, good pieces to it, I feel like some of it was lacking that would allow me. Okay, that is exactly what I was picturing.
like I said, I use
Because like
Cryptid Wick.
when they said like a dog or wolf like snout, I'm like, cool. But what about the rest of it? Are they like is it like a whole dog face? Is it like a dog man face? Like a head of a dog man with
Yeah, from
Arnold
that picture,
Schwarzenegger body and chicken legs? I mean technically it didn't even say it had arms or
no,
hands
in which
or
some of the pictures that they've done hand drawn, like of this creature, it basically shows that it has arms.
wait, it
With
wouldn't, right?
well,
If the
some of
pinky,
yeah are attached to the wings,
yeah, then it wouldn't have technically arms.
but
This
of
thing's gonna be
course,
fun to try to figure out how to
because
make.
people have interesting imaginations, they have hand
True.
drawn the bat squatch with arms and wings on its back, or they've drawn them where he's attached and the pinkies are, well, they draw but where he has hands, but the wings are attached to where his pinkies are,
Which
like
seems
the
kind of
descriptions say.
useless.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
mean, how would you
still,
use your arm if every time you move it, your pinky's moving the wings?
well, I mean, they can fold them
It would
probably,
like get stuck in the middle or something, wouldn't it?
probably. Well, I mean,
Oh,
they
can you
probably
imagine getting
fold
stuck on a
them.
tree branch? Sorry.
I mean, they probably fold them to like the arms a little bit more to where they can move the arms freely.
Yeah, I guess I could, depending on how the wings are shaped.
True. But I feel like even though like if they land, they could use their hands still to be like able to eat stuff instead of like trying to stab shit with the pinky and
Bats grab things and like
yeah.
whoop them up, right? I think that, or they
Mhm.
hold on to them or something, like in the air and like mow down, or like flip them up, or they do something with their wings to like move it towards their face. But my thing too is a lot of the artist renditions of the Bat Squatch. I don't know how many of those were based off of an eyewitness, kind of like a composite sketch, or just somebody reading the description and making what they thought, not working with a witness to create said drawing.
I feel like a lot of the drawings that they've done is just the person hearing whatever the
Mm-hmm.
description is and then drawing it that way.
Yeah, that was my understanding too, which I feel kind of
Because reality, it sounds
degrades
like,
it, I guess.
yeah. In reality, it looks like just out of the select few that we've talked about, there's only like a couple people that yeah, I feel like they got a good look at this thing.
Okay, there is a picture, and I think it's actually witness create, either the witness drew it or worked with somebody, of the, I think it's the Jersey Devil, and it's like really fucked up. Everybody makes fun of it, but if you look at it, the snout on this thing does kind of look wolf like. It has bat wings and these like fucked up legs.
Oh yeah, no,
Maybe it looks more like the Jersey Devil and less like a Thundercat Mothman. Because doesn't even the Jersey Devil, didn't it have like these claw like feet?
no, he had hoof feet.
Oh, hoofy. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was trying to picture it in my head. But you know what I'm talking about? Like, it almost looks like the horse, it looks like a horse head. But to me, I can see that a witness putting two and two together with like the longer, kind of boxier type snout of like a canine and getting it confused with like a horsey head. I love how I just said horsey. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep, that's the one. So kill the hooves, throw on some chicken feet, and I think we got ourselves a bat squatch and lose a tail.
and being the 13th kid.
The 13th son of a 13th son or something. Fun fact, when I was at CryptidCon last year, a man came up to the booth I was helping work and introduced himself. as I can't remember his first name, something Lutz, right? I didn't think anything of it. Whatever. He had 2 kids with him, a boy and a girl. They seemed really nice and polite. And we all just kind of stopped and looked at him, and he was kind of looking at us kind of weird. And he was like, yeah, I'm from that Lutz. And we were like, pardon me? He was like, that, the Lutz in the Jersey Devil story, he goes, that is my family. He's from the family. He's a descendant of the OG, like the woman who birthed it. Like he even like went and had like his DNA and ancestry stuff done. It was crazy.
I don't know. I don't know if I was a part of that family, if I'd be that happy. I don't know.
Hey, for example, I'm related to Daniel Boone.
Hmm.
Fun fact.
I mean, like that. Yeah, that one sounds cool, but like having the or having a story of your great uncle or however you want to line that
Yeah.
up, being like, yeah, my great uncle's the devil of New Jersey.
But you got to think, odds are this guy probably doesn't believe a damn thing. And it's
Oh
something
no,
that's so, it's kind of like if your second cousin was Britney Spears. I could totally see people being like, say you're walking down the street and this guy's like, you're talking and he's like, hey, you want to hear something cool? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, my great great uncle's OJ Simpson. Some people would be like, get the hell away from me, you fucking psycho. And some people would be like, oh, that's so cool. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. And we were at Cryptid Con. So it's not like he was at a church revival and he was like, hey, guess what, guys? So I feel like with the niche that we were in, it kind of makes sense to kind of have that association because not only that, because then you're opening a door to be like, hey, I can, I can be on your show and tell you maybe some information that you might not get researching because it was passed down through the
true.
family.
But then again, they could also ruin the legend that way too.
But the guys that I was with, they primarily do interviews.
And
So I don't know.
mine's normally just saying, "Hey, I saw Sasquatch."
And see, with me,
That's because a lot of people that say that they've saw Sasquatch are either still being harassed by, say, Sasquatch due to most encounters are in their home or not in their home, but if you live out in
area.
the wood, yeah, if you live out in like the middle of nowhere, like I used to with my mom, you get that
Mm-hmm.
interaction because they're a curious or
Curious.
they're yeah, they're a very curious creature to begin with. So they're going to want to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've heard
If
tons of stories.
oh, so that's where you get that reoccurring, and most people go, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about it because it's still happening."
Yeah, or mine will be like, they'll tell me about it, but I even tell them like, hey, if you guys, I was like, type it up, voice it, whatever. I was like, I can make the notes. I was like, I could change your name. You could be, Billy Bob Tinklebants. I don't know. And I could just make up a name. I'm like, it's, whatever to keep your identity safe and all of that. Nobody will know. And just type it up. And they could tell me one on one. But when it comes to doing that and to put it on the air, even if I read it on the air with fake names, they're like, nope. Or they're like, yeah, okay. And then they never do it.
Well, and this is because I've had a couple people that reached out to me and then instantly was like, "Yeah, I don't want it to air." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I get it because I know from my experiences, especially knowing somebody else has seen something similar to what I have seen, it is very nice to have that. I'm not crazy. Somebody else has seen it, they understand, and it feels good to just get it out instead of just bottling it up. And so I totally understand that.
Well, I was going to say, I used to work at a hardware store here in Ohio, and there was a gentleman. He owns his own property. He's got acres upon acres here in Ohio that he owns. And he used to come see me almost every day, at least once a week. And he would have photo pictures of UFOs that'd be either floating
Mhm.
around his land,
Oh, they
pictures
don't talk about
of,
anything.
oh no, he didn't talk about anything, and he would not give up the location of where he lived.
Mm-hmm.
He just said, I own my own land and I prefer to keep it secret. But he had pictures and he would sit there and show me all these pictures of the family of Sasquatches that lived on his property that he actually caught on trail cams.
What?
He said he has like 20 trail cams put up throughout his whole property
Oh, I would too.
that he's showed me pictures of Indian ghost where you could see like the whole
Like the
headdress
headdress.
and everything. A pictures of aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot. There was one other thing, but I can't think of it at the moment. I don't know. Like his land is basically like one of them. I don't know how to word it, but it's like
Almost like
one
a
of them.
triangle, like
Yeah,
a Skinwalker Ranch.
yeah. It is like that unique,
Mm-hmm.
special spot here in Ohio, I
Almost
guess.
like there's a ley line or something that runs right through it, kind of thing, like a total hot spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it just seems like the paranormal cryptid world just blends together perfectly, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, that's the little holy grail in Ohio where you're like, I could find that family of Sasquatch, be friends with them.
Oh no, those things are monsters.
Bullshit. You feed them like a fat kid and they'll be happy.
Sounds like me. Maybe I'm a Sasquatch.
I was going to say, you give me a pack of donuts, I'm going to sit here and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll, I know they like donuts, and it's honestly a 3D
Peanut
print I'm
butter.
trying to work on.
I hear they really like peanut butter.
Oh, they do. See, that's the one thing I love. And I love going
Donuts,
out to
donuts,
areas.
and
I love going out to areas that say they have Bigfoots because I normally bring donuts, peanut butter, Reese cups, and a trail camera, and I try to basically get pictures and proof that they're actually there.
all right. I got an idea. They like donuts. This is what you got to do. Get the not the ones with the holes in them, the whole ones, that don't have the holes,
Oh, the cream
like
filled
a
ones.
jelly or whatever. All right, so you get some of those. Then you find you some scientist and you put together, or you just put a whole bunch of like sleeping meds or something, and you freeze it in ice cubes. And then you shove the ice cubes in the donut. And then you leave it as an offering. Are you following me? I'm hoping somebody out there is screaming that they know what I'm talking about. I'm dying. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Ninja Turtles all the way. Wow, my voice just went weird. Um, but yeah, and then so what you do is you just pump sedatives into this donut. They eat the donut, and then they're like, well, okay, usually it takes like 20 to 30 minutes to kick in, but find something, and then they're just like super tired, and then they're gonna be like groggy, and then they might just walk right in front of your trail cam or just lay down and take a nap.
You're kind
Do
of
you know
making me
any
want to go
vets?
out. Oh, I have friends that are.
Okay, do you know any veterinarians? I should probably specify.
Oh no.
So
Oh
we're not going to gun down Sasquatch, but well, we don't know how fast he moves. From what I hear, you cannot sneak up on a fucking squat.
no,
That
but I
motherfucker's
am
going to know
a
you're there.
hunter. Every time that I've gone out hunting in the last 2 years, I've had somewhat of an encounter with Sasquatch.
But putting it in the donut or in the food would also then allow you to keep your distance and not potentially get your head ripped off by a pissed off, half drugged out Sasquatch. Safe, easy,
But it's still
boom.
safe with a tranquilizer gun.
You have
I,
to get
I,
close enough to shoot that fucker in the woods.
I at least have to have about 100 yards, depending on wind.
I know I hunt.
Gears are turning, so by the
Yeah.
end of this year, I'm
Just
getting married
consider
and I'll have Bigfoot.
an oral sedative.
You almost made me spit my drink because I thought something completely different when you said
Oral
oral.
sedative.
I heard oral and then an S, and I was like, I am not doing that with Sasquatch.
Okay.
I was gonna say I just somebody tagged me in a video where this lady says that she's been being tracked by the cat man. And of course, me being a podcaster, I said, hey, come on my podcast. We can talk about it.
I'm going to shameless plug some stuff here. I know I have stuff in the intro that's pre-recorded. I have stuff in the outro that's pre-recorded. But what the hell? I'm going to remind you again, live-wise, so that you guys know that it's very genuine and deep, deep in my heart. I'm laughing because if everybody's watching the video, they'll get that. So for both of us, again, Cody, Paranormally Cryptid Podcast, and myself, you know what I'm called if you're here. So go on and please, 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 preferably a 5-star review would be fantastic. I mean, I guess if you give me a shitty review, then what the hell ever, just don't listen. I don't care. But please give us a good review, rate us, follow us, that kind of thing. I know people don't realize what it does for us as a podcast, but primarily anytime that you leave a rating, even if it's on Spotify and all you do is click those little 5 stars, it's going to help us. It's going to allow our podcast to show up more frequently when people are searching. If nobody rates or reviews us, we might be number 5,236 on the list, and you'll never find us. It'll be harder to get to us. And not to mention, 5-star reviews with some pleasant little words makes us all warm and fuzzy inside. I like to read them. You guys are already going to hear it probably by now, but I am actually taking a whole kit and caboodle of time, and I am reading all of my reviews that I've gotten so far, which is like 5, so it's not that many, but I'm going to read them all and give some shout outs. I got an email about where I stand in the last 30 days for the podcast, which is actually really good. So thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. I think I should have, if you have not sent those to me, Cody, if you could send me any links, click on it and you'll have everything. There's a place if you want to donate to the podcast and allow me to, one, I would really love to get a new mic that doesn't take a dump on me. That'd be great. Or to help me pay for software costs or, having the website, just basically keeping the shit out here, because there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of time and you know how it is, stuff that goes in, and it is really hard to do that without a little bit of help. So any little bit helps. We also have the Patreon page. I think that's pretty much everything I got. Do you have anything you want to add, sir?
I will state this. I have stickers for Paranormally Cryptid Podcast, 5 different logos. Anybody that gives this show or this episode here a 5-star review, please message me on Facebook at Polos Cody. That is POLOS Cody. And send me your address, and I will send you a picture of all 5 stickers to where you can pick them, and I will send them to you.
Awesome. And in your email, just because I'm that person and I have learned in this world, as Cody has, that evidence is key, send a screenshot of your review to show him which one's yours. Because that's awesome. And then he can hear what you had to say about our episode, and we can all be on one big page together. Otherwise, all of the reviews all kind of jumble into one. And I can't pick out which one. I can't be like, yo, Cody, this person really liked our episode. Because I don't know it's you. But again, everybody, Cody, Paranormally Cryptid Podcast. Check him out. Give him some love. And whoop, I'm knocking stuff over. So on that note, until next time, I will see you later.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you listen. This is more beneficial than you may know and will help others locate the podcast. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page as well. We currently have 2 tiers. The Snallygaster tier that'll get you unedited bonus audio, a sticker, a shout out on the podcast, and access to the private Discord server. The second tier is the Phantom tier, and that'll get you all of the benefits of the Snallygaster tier, plus access to live streams and Q&A sessions, and is the only place you can access all video footage from regular episodes as well as the Patreon exclusive episodes. You can subscribe today at patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy. Don't forget to head over to the TeePublic website and take a look at a variety of merch options that are available. You can also find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, X, and YouTube. All of these links can be found in the description of this episode under the Linktree hyperlink. Until next time, my friends, dare to believe.